really thought we were live.
We are live now. Okay, so the groove intro, I can cancel that out. Everybody's hearing this, so whatever. You know, I'm gonna figure this stuff out, you guys, and then it's gonna get smooth. It's insane the number. Like I was just working on I got a new loop station and just working on trying to figure out where the cables go, and then making sure I respond to emails. It's just a lot, you know, and then. You know, and then you got to think about like life, and you got to think about like, you know, the purpose and
where
and
are you
God,
going with this?
And there's like, you know,
Loop pedal, like
yeah, loop pedal
station,
yeah, like
intro. What's the meaning of life?
If you hit the loop pedal enough times, do you get to speak to God?
Yeah, I've been there.
All right, you know what? We're gonna skip the main intro here, and we're just gonna go right to. Meet Grant Wenzel. A lot of you guys already know him. What's up, Grant?
Hey, oh, wrong hand. You can see my hand waving now.
I always do that. I get to the
yeah.
wrong side.
Yeah.
All right, man. We've already got to the heavy stuff, which is God and loop pedals. And so
you missed that. That was part of the pre-show. You know.
Yeah. Man, I hope I don't butcher this, but I'm stoked to be here with Grant, and it's been really, really good to get to know Grant over this time, like since he's been coming out to my club, and I'm excited to get to know you a little bit more and get to know your music and share some of your music, and man, we were just talking about. I don't know, man. Now I'm like so disoriented. But we were talking about open mic, and then now all of a sudden we're live, and it's like I was so comfortable, and now I don't even know.
Yeah, you got the jitters a little bit. You're like, oh, what are we talking about? Yeah, we're like, having really good conversation off air.
And then all of a sudden you click like stream, and now it's like there's a whole bunch of people who you don't even know who they are that are apparently right next to us, like taking it all in. So like, oh, wait a second, should I be moderating what I say? You know, that's what I do that. I don't know if you do that, but I moderate what I say depending on who I'm speaking to. And so then now that's one of the things that's hard about the internet is like, who am I even speaking to?
Anyone.
I don't
know.
So,
it's really tough. And we were talking about social media earlier. That's what we were talking about. And that's something that I really struggle with whenever it comes to social media. It's something that comes with being a musician. But if you go on my Instagram, you know, it's pretty barren. You know, I don't really ever post anything to Facebook. I don't even have a Facebook for Days Like Decades, which I probably should, but it's just not. I hate it so much.
Yeah,
What's up, Kevin?
Yeah, what up, Kevin?
Yeah, we know Kevin.
Yeah.
One less stranger
Kevin?
in the audience.
Right on. Social media. Yeah, my Instagram. I feel like I'm starting to figure it out a little bit. The social media stuff, and I think maybe one of the keys is like anytime you have a moment in your day where you're just like it really makes you happy, or just anything that really catches your interest that you really like or you're really excited about, just make sure you capture that and just share it, you know, and don't think too much about it. I think that's gonna be my angle.
You see, but
no,
my problem is whenever I see something really interesting in life, my first thought isn't pick up my phone and film it. Pick up my phone, take a picture. It's like, wow, I want to experience this.
100%.
You know?
Yeah.
So then, like, almost posting on Instagram, posting on social media takes you out of the moment, takes you out of the experiences that you're having in real life. Yeah, just so that you can get other people on the internet to, like, shoot you little thumbs ups and whatnot. It just, you know, it's fun, but, you know.
I think maybe like a way to think about it, because like, you know, if you're thinking about like for what I do as music, I think of it as a job. That's the way I approach it. Like when I go to a gig, I think of it as a job, and like the entire time I'm there to work, and so I think of my social interactions as part of the work, and so you know I'm there to serve, and so I don't try to like serve my own needs when I'm in gigs. I just try to think about like what can I do to a certain extent I get, but. I think about my own needs just so I don't be completely miserable, and then I look like a total like.
Well, it meets halfway. You know, you can satisfy your own needs. Your own needs are being satisfied just by playing the gig to a certain extent.
True.
Like you do this because you love it.
But if I was just satisfying my own needs completely, I would just I would play like 15 minutes and then get some free food.
Yeah.
And then there's like kind of go chill in my car for a while and then be like, all right, I'm ready to get paid. You know what? I think I'm going to call it a little early.
Yeah, well, that's actually interesting that you brought that up
Yeah,
because I was thinking about that earlier in the day, and I feel like a lot of people think of music especially as, oh, I don't want to work. I wish I could just do music. But that's not, you don't not work and do music. Music is your job, you know, and even though you're up there for, you know, an hour or two at a gig, I mean, Noah, tell me, how much time do you spend outside of your gigs?
There's that too, yeah.
Like, you don't just, like, everyone else just sees you go up and perform a killer 2-hour set, you know, and then what did it take to get to that point? You know, how much work did you put outside, you know, of all that, you know?
Let's use that to transition into you and getting to know you a little better. So here's the transition on that. The answer to the question is, it goes way deeper than just like even practice or whatever. It's like the whole life that went into it. And so, like, for example, I used to go out when I was in Nashville. I was like, there was a period of time, well, most of my life I was still am in a lot of ways, but I've come a long way. Super socially anxious, you know, and really, really cautious in social settings. And now I don't really, I mean, I still get nervous or whatever, but I don't, it's like a weird disconnect where it doesn't really faze me anymore. I'm just gonna go out and
you're nervous, you recognize it, but it doesn't hinder you anymore. You're like, oh, that's a thing, and then you still go out and do it.
Yeah, it might make me like be a little awkward or whatever, but I'm still gonna go and just be awkward if that's what it is. If I'm gonna be awkward, then that's just what it is. But I used to go to like when I was in Nashville. I took in college in Knoxville. I took a job waiting tables just for the purpose. Well, to make money, but also just to push myself socially. And because you just got to go up and speak to people, table after table. It was really, really difficult for me. And then there was a period of time in Nashville where I just started going out to bars and just going up and talking to people who I had no idea who they were.
That's the worst. I still can't do that. No. Go into a bar and talk to a stranger?
Yes. Yeah. I just went solo. I would just I went solo like every night. I would just go out and I would just like find people and I would try to be completely non-judgmental in who I approached, or anybody that I felt like they intimidated me, I would just go talk to them. And there were some weird
when you do stuff like that, you get some stories. You know?
Yeah. But anyway, that kind of stuff has a lot to do with why even I'm able to get on a stage, or, for example, going on a tour, buying a van and doing a tour where I didn't really make any money, and in some ways it was a disappointment and it cost me money, but it was a crazy adventure. These kinds of things help me, you know, getting the experience to be in 60 different cities over the course of a short span of time. You learn things that you can't learn unless you do that kind of thing. And when you get experiences in all these different bars and communities and kind of see who's making music in these different places and who comes out to see it, and it's just the way you learn.
What sets them apart, what gets the crowd going in those shows. And little differences between places, and it's not like I can process it all, but it's like you learn, and that all has to do with how, you know, I might make music on a stage. So the practice is one part of it, and you're asking the question about like what goes into it outside of the stage time. Like today, I just spent like 5 hours just getting cables, and then trying to figure out how these damn cables connect, and then figuring out how they all these buttons I have to press to program the thing. And then you're gonna have to learn, like, it's a whole new aspect of your instrument, a whole new aspect of your live show, and like how much are you getting paid for that?
Yeah,
you know,
nothing.
No, you paid to get the new equipment, right. So it's reverse.
And the whole point of it is that I hope on the other side of this, it's going to give me a broader ability to make music on a stage. But there's all that goes into it. And so, but on the other angle that we're just talking about like the travel and just going to open mics or all that kind of stuff. Let's start with like what. Well, why don't we just start with simple one? What got you into music?
What got me into music?
What got you into music?
It's way back. I took my first guitar lesson in elementary school in the third grade. I want to say, you see, I don't even remember where I took. It could have been one of three different places. Class setting, guitar lessons. My teacher thought I was pretty good a couple times. So
Right on.
But the majority of what I've learned has been self-taught. We talked about that at the open mic a couple weeks ago, where self-taught doesn't necessarily mean what it used to. I used YouTube. I listened to my favorite artists and tried to imitate what they were doing. So it's not necessarily self-taught anymore. But then just meeting more people. Slowly but surely, I was in a couple bands. I was in a hardcore punk band in high school for a brief minute there.
Okay.
I was really into pop punk for a long time.
Okay.
Metal. My first real favorite band was Avenged Sevenfold,
really
and that was
interesting.
for a long time. A day to remember. And then I went to a show spontaneously. It was Young the Giant. They were playing in Columbia. I think it was back in 2015.
Okay.
And their live show blew my mind. Like, that guy has the most beautiful voice of anyone that I've ever heard in my entire life. And how tight they sounded live.
Yeah.
Like, they sounded exactly like the recording live. And it blew my mind. I started listening to them more. I started listening to more pop-influenced music. And then I got really big into a band called the 1975. And then after that, it kind of leads into more the music that I make now, and it makes a lot more sense.
Okay. When did you? So you were performing in a punk band? Is that what you said?
We never had a gig.
Okay.
Two of my bandmates went on to have a show a band Watergate. Okay. Shout out Frazier and Austin. Long time no see. Hope I see you again someday. But they ended up opening for Metro Station back in 2017.
Nice.
So that was, I don't know what they were doing opening for Metro Station. This is like a hardcore punk band. And then like, they're the band that's like, shake, 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 shake it.
I think I know that.
You know that? It's very, very poppy.
Okay.
Very, very poppy.
Oh, okay.
So a hardcore punk band. Born in Florence.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay. So when did you start? When did you start performing?
My first show was opening for my friend Ricky's band and also my friend Sam's band in Colombia, and I did it under the name South African Beach Volleyball.
You mentioned this name before, yeah.
Where did I come up with that name? I don't know.
Just an off-the-wall thing so you could go on stage and people are just like, what?
I dressed up in the most ridiculous costume. I had a bathing suit, flip-flops, a panoramic view of a beach silk shirt.
All right.
I brought beach balls.
Okay, so you weren't playing around either. You okay.
Yeah, but part of the reason why I did that, and I don't think I've ever really gone into depth, and I think this is something that has really held me back, and I've only recently been able to get past it, is it's a distraction. It's a gimmick to distract from the vulnerability that comes with singing and playing the music that you wrote yourself.
To call your act South African Beach Volleyball?
Call your act South African Beach Volleyball, dress in a bathing suit with, silk t-shirt with volleyballs and,
That's
beach
an interesting
inflatables.
topic though, because like I don't want to sit on this for too long. Let's keep going into it. But it's an interesting idea, like that you might do something. If you're doing it, well, maybe it could be both ways. To create a name and sort of persona like that, that's kind of like extravagant or just kind of like over the top or whatever. You know what I mean? that sometimes can open the door to an audience too. That it you know what I mean? Like,
And that's the thing, though. I got so many people asking me, when's the next South African
sick,
beach volleyball show? And I was like, that was embarrassing.
but I think like that's one of the tricks is like as you when you're making original music and you're trying to cultivate an audience, there's like it's not easy, and I think like I was taking a really serious approach for a while, and I wanted people to digest and really get take my music on at face value and really think about it and invest some time. And
see, I don't think that works as well either. I mean,
No.
because there are plenty of people out there who are really into music and want to spend that time and dissect it, but there's like 9 to 10 times as many of people who...
And how do you get your music in front of those people that you're talking about? I mean, that's you can't just sort of like put a programming code out into the ether and then it just sifts through everyone and then gets it on their desk of all the people that actually are...
Well, the thing is, you got to trick people into liking their music and your music. They don't want...
You do a little bit, yeah.
They don't want to go listen to your music because you said, hey... I've got a new song out, listen to my music. They want to find you and they want to like you and they'll be like, wow, I found this guy, he's super likable, let me show my friends.
Yeah. You know, I think it also has a lot to do with they need to know that like before people are going to invest the time to really really dig into your art, they kind of already have to buy in. I think this like goes to like I used to play a thing that I've said many times. I used to play at a venue in L.A. in Long Beach, sort of Seal Beach, and I play there every Sunday. And I noticed like whenever I would start playing there, it was in a kind of hip area, but the place itself had no draw. But there were like 2 places right next to it that had a ton of draw, and so tons of foot traffic. And when I first sat down, it would always be empty. And the hardest thing was to get the first people to sit down. But once the first like 1 or 2 people sat down, then it would fill up and people would start sitting down at a much more rapid pace. And so basically what that taught me is people, if they see that something is kind of validated by somebody, they don't really want to be the first person to sit down and take that social risk where they might look like an idiot, where everyone else knows this is not a place you want to be, this music sucks. And then they sit down and they just look like an idiot. But
that's the herd mentality for you.
It's the herd mentality. But you got to get people to buy in. And so maybe there's things that you can do, like simple kind of meme style things.
You grab their attention with the memes and then you hold their attention with the music.
I think that's a good, I think that may be the game a bit. So,
that guy that I opened up for, Ricky, that's what he did. He now has 500,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Go Ricky, man.
So, it worked for him.
Yeah. So I think and part of it is like showing that you understand the people that are watching. So I think we all probably cultivate different audiences. We all appeal to different people. If you don't appeal to enough people, you can't make a living at it. It's just not. Yeah. I mean, you can't make a living with original music. Being digested by other people. You got to have enough of an audience. But I think most of us are generally relatable. And so we just got to like dig into who we are and figure out how we can understand and do things. And it takes a lot of work. But let's push past. And so let's go to your performance. So you said you were saying about your first performances and how you kind of got your feet going, your feet wet as a performer.
Yeah. So South African beach volleyball was the first one. Yeah. And then just one-off gigs here and there. To be honest, coming to Mike Club was really pushing myself, and that's why I kept on coming to Mike Club, because I really have had a hard time getting in front of an audience and sharing, or just getting in front of an audience in general. Like giving public speeches, like it's terrifying. And just from going to Mike Club and going to these open mics, I'm getting a lot better at it.
Right on.
And it's allowing me to branch out. But other than I threw a couple parties for like EP release parties, at my house whenever I was in college. But then I was just, biggest fan of other local musicians, really.
I would never have guessed that. To me, you seem pretty well grounded on stage. I know Mike Club is kind of like a what?
Yeah.
It's not exactly a representation of a lot of other places that you
Well,
might
I've gotten
play,
comfortable at Mike Club.
Yeah, yeah.
I really have gotten comfortable doing stuff in Mike Club, but I think it shows a little bit more. I've started going to Elliott Borough Mini Bar a couple times for their open mic on Wednesdays, and I think it shows a little bit more there. I'm a little bit more nervous, but I also think I just naturally hide my nervousness relatively well.
That's a good thing. That's a good trait, I think.
It's something learned. I wouldn't say that came naturally. That's a learned trait.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's a good trait to have because people, I don't know, you can get away with the nervous thing on stage to an extent. Like people can buy in and celebrate. You know, there's a degree to which people, it's like rooting for the underdog or whatever.
We were talking about it. You said you did that a lot. I called it coyness.
Yeah. I used to kind of thrive on that, and I've seen a lot of performers that do. And then especially when you're first starting out, it's like you are nervous, and then you know, a lot of times people will celebrate that. And if you do something, it kind of makes it easier on you, you know, because people they lower their expectations.
But what's better is whenever someone like the opposite end of that, where someone can captivate an audience really well. What was the name of that hip hop group that came to last?
They killed it, dude.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Co-op.
Co-op. They did an incredible job at just captivating the audience. You know, no nervousness whatsoever. I'm sure they were a little nervous, but they didn't show it. You know, that just comes with experience.
They cut loose. I mean, I think that was a big part of it. I would be really curious. Actually, I should probably invite them to come and do this podcast sometime, because I'd be really curious to see what all their experiences. They were pretty like coming up with lyrical content on the fly. I was pretty impressed. I thought they did a great job with it. I couldn't gather everything that they said, but it did seem like they had a pretty broad range of content that they were going. They weren't just going for like the easy stuff. You know, some people just be like, "Yeah, I'm the best. I'm the greatest." You know, or whatever. You know, and they kind of recycle a lot of stuff or go to a lot of certain buzzwords or whatever. I felt like they were doing some pretty interesting stuff on the spot. I was impressed with it.
Yeah. And it was fun. Everyone up there was just the energy level was up there. You know,
it was awesome.
It was awesome. Yeah.
All right, so you said to what extent were you performing? Well, let me ask you this: how long have you been in Charleston?
I have been in Charleston since January of 2019, so a little over 3 years now.
And had you been doing much performing before Charleston?
No. That's what I'm saying.
Dang.
So Mike Club, whenever I first came with my friend Caroline, that was one of the first times I had played in front of a live audience in a long time.
Dang,
so
man. That's crazy.
Yeah, then whenever I've just been pushing myself to keep on going because I didn't know how. I didn't know how to.
All right. So then we got to play a song. We're going to play one of Grant's songs. I think we should play Days Like Decades.
Yeah.
That's the name.
That's the name of my band if you haven't figured it out yet.
So we're not going to. So we should play Have It Made. I think we should.
Okay, we can start off with Have It Made.
When you hear this, I mean, that kind of shocks me, you know, to think that you've written a song. Well, and the
here's the thing: I'm saying performing.
Yeah.
I would sit in my bedroom and write these songs. You know, I wasn't not playing. I just wasn't playing in front of an audience. You know, I wrote Have It Made, but I spent, you know, upwards of 50, 60 hours writing that song alone in my apartment, you know, and then going and getting other people to collaborate with it and everything, you know. I just I didn't get in front of an audience and start performing it until recently.
All right, let's get this up here. We're gonna watch Have It Made, and let's get this thing up here.
So this is go ahead and pause it real quick. I want to give one more Have heads up.
Okay. Hang on.
I want to give a shout out.
All right.
All right, so this music video, all of these music videos that we're going to see, and all of my album art, it's done by my best friend Todd, Todd Johnson. He's incredible. He's done it for me for very cheap, and he's just really good at what he does. So that just wanted to give a shout out to Todd right there. If you need photography, videography, you know.
Todd's got it.
Todd's got it. He's awesome. So
all right, let me get this thing back up here, and
I'll be right back.
Get this thing going.
Say too much of risk to take.
I'm gonna blow it up a little bit.
all right.
Drive for the phone in hand. Living life on interstates. Following strangers' favorite plans. When we're young, we dream we're older.
That's a really cool choice on that.
Dream job, wife on your shoulder. Someday we'll have it made.
You got to see the way that Grant bends the strings on this song when he plays it live, guys.
Path to nowhere, it's a lonely place. You untravel along, I stood. I overthought, I contemplated. I'd gotten lost inside the woods.
It's a common thing with my friends.
Now I'm older, dreaming I'm younger. Looking ahead and full of hunger. Someday we'll have it made. I spend my whole life living a dream, filled with regret and anxiety. And nothing's ever gonna change till I can learn to say, right now I've got it made.
Yeah, man.
That's it right there.
Man.
I am extraordinarily proud of that song.
As you should be. That's a beautiful
you.
song.
Thank you.
Boom. Yeah. I'll let that simmer. Dude. I feel like that song makes me. Oh.
That's another song. That's auto playing.
And I can't stop it. What? Hang on. Let's do. There we go.
I wasn't planning on playing that one.
There's some weird like technical kinks. It just doesn't make sense what this program is doing a little bit. But anyway,
It's all good.
So
Well, you got to. There we go.
yes, we're there. So that song. Okay, one, the message of the song is just a great message, right? And but I feel like this through. I never felt this before, but this time through, I felt like at the end, I felt like Neo
Neo, what do you mean?
from the Matrix.
Yeah,
you
from the Matrix.
Yeah, I just felt like I was Neo, man.
Well, that's awesome. That means it's making you feel something. I'm
Yeah.
not sure what you mean, but I'm
Dude.
glad it's making you feel something.
You know, it's like you gotta realize like that you know, like on some level, maybe I don't know, maybe it's just me, but on some level, I wish that I could just like go out and if I wanted to like create, this is gonna sound dumb. I don't mean it like this, but
Just say
it's
it.
funny. If I wanted to create a machine gun with my heart.
Machine gun with your heart.
Yeah, just like manifest it right there.
Yeah.
You know, or you know, like they do in that programming world, or he can just sort of move through walls or do whatever, and he can fly and bend the universe. Like once he learns that it's all programming and it's not real, then he's able to, you know, be a kind of powerful force that was not possible before. And I feel like that there's elements.
Ooh, I really like
song-
that. Yeah,
dude, it makes.
I like that analogy right there.
Yeah, well, I mean, once that bridge hits, and you're saying like right now, nothing's gonna change until I realize that right now I've got it made, and that's like that realization is key, and it's so hard to realize that. because it doesn't
No,
feel
the
like,
reason
you know?
why I'm screaming that is
Yeah.
I'm angry at myself.
Yeah.
Like, listen here,
Yeah.
buddy. Like,
Yeah.
I'm telling you this right now, you know, and it's still something that I struggle with, you know, and it's still the reason why that emotion's still there whenever I sing it live, because
Yeah.
I'm so frustrated at myself because, like, yeah, nothing's going to change until I can appreciate everything that I have right now in the moment, you know,
Yeah.
and you know, it's tough sometimes, you know, because you're constantly bombarded with, you know, the bad, and I feel like that's maybe part of human nature to see
Yeah.
the bad things first, you know, survival instinct maybe, but
yeah, and I also think like, and this, I mean, this is not exactly, but it's definitely related. I think when you know, fully embrace life and fully embrace your life, you also have to just accept disappointment. Like you're going to be disappointed, you know, many times, and by people that you wish didn't disappoint you. And you got to accept, I mean, I'm not, you disappoint yourself for sure too, but just in terms of like, when you live at your best potential, which I've never done, by the way, I've never done that. But
come on, you're hosting a podcast in your own studio, you know, which is a really cool studio.
Right on,
you,
thanks,
you give yourself a little bit more credit.
Well, I've never,
You're-
yeah. Well,
maybe this song's speaking to you too.
It does. 100% it does. Because I think like, you know, we all get, it's so, you know, I don't know. It's like trying to understand the universe. When you're in a world of 8 billion people that are all interconnected in different ways and are, it's
so easy
insane.
to feel insignificant.
Yeah.
Just like it doesn't matter.
But I love that at the end when you're walking after you've had the bridge and you're saying, right now I've got it made, and you're kind of like, you know, just enjoying walking down King Street. And I like too how you included, you know, just video of Charleston.
See, that's
yeah.
all Todd. That's
on.
what I'm saying. Like Todd,
Way to go, Todd.
I gave Todd about 100 clips probably,
Yeah.
and said, "Todd, figure it out." And he did great. I do like how at the end, you know, right now I've got it made, and then like right now I'm in Charleston. You know, beautiful day outside.
And then it gets to that just nice groove, and it's like, yeah, you do, you know. It's like, because it doesn't get any better than that, you know. I don't know. It's like, I think that's one thing that is also just a mental thing that's really, really challenging. Is you always think it's going to be better when you get to this other place. People always say it's the journey, and it is, and that because it's temporary. What we're doing, and it's the fact. I wrote this in a song that I made recently called Jamaica. That it's kind of like the gods. Well, it's in that movie with Achilles or whatever. The gods are jealous of man because the fact that men are mortal makes their time precious.
Ooh.
And you know what I mean? And so it's that experience, that struggle that we go through, that is what's so like exhilarating. You know?
See, and I want to use this as a segue to talk about the name Days
Okay.
Like Decades.
Let's do it.
Because I always use my name and everything, but when I release stuff, it's under the name Days Like Decades. And it started off as one thing, but it has turned into something completely different. I was having a conversation with my girlfriend a couple weeks ago about it, actually. And basically, the thought behind those words are events happen once, memories last forever. You know, days become decades in the back of your mind. Whether or not that's a trap of nostalgia, it's important not to live in those days, you know. It's important to not live in the past, but I do enjoy, a part of me enjoys collecting those memories and having those as a place to go. And just having them last throughout your entire lifetime.
So let me. I feel like my mind's maybe not quite like I'm kind of going like in two different directions maybe.
Yeah.
So like, are you thinking of days like decades, like days when you're immersed in certain moments or whatever, that it can feel like those days last decades, or it's more of a reflective kind of thing? Those days were so incredible that you're able to experience them.
Yeah.
Sort of both. Or?
Yeah, sure. Or yes, exactly.
Okay.
I mean, there are several different ways you can interpret it, but yeah, and that's what I like about it. I like the symmetry of those words. I like how it kind of leaves it up to interpretation, and I like how. Yeah, I like how there's meaning that can be taken from those words, and I need to do I feel like I need to do a better job of explaining the name. It's just tough.
I like it because it makes, I think, just what I get from it on like maybe the most immediate level is it makes you want to appreciate days more. You know, that, I mean, on some level you can look at it as just that your days are what amounts to decades, but it's not that. It's
well, that's true as well.
The day, yeah.
But that's not false,
right?
I mean, all of none of these things that we said are wrong, but they're all encompassed in that one name, which is I like double entendres, and the name Days Like Decades has several meanings.
All right, well, let's dig into, so as a performer, you're relatively new to performance.
Yes.
And which I'd say you're overall pretty. I mean, as one opinion, I think you do a good job. I wouldn't have guessed that you're as, I guess, inexperienced. I wouldn't have guessed that you've done it. You haven't done it as much.
And inexperienced is, yeah, that's true. I'm very inexperienced whenever it comes to performing.
But you look, I mean, yeah. Well, to me, you look pretty comfortable on the stage, and you look like you belong on a stage. And so I don't feel like, it doesn't seem to me like you're just getting your feet wet. But let's dig into you more as a songwriter. So when did you start writing songs?
Fourth grade.
Okay.
They weren't good in the fourth grade.
Yeah. What was your first song?
God, I don't even remember. It was if you've got an acoustic guitar, I can play the riff. Yeah.
Let's go. Okay. Yeah.
I never came up with lyrics, but it's actually not that bad, I don't think. So. That's it.
Okay, right on.
That was it. That was fourth grade. I actually added a little bit more pizzazz because I didn't know any good strumming patterns way back then.
Okay, gotcha.
So, that was it. But let's see. I wrote music throughout high school. I mean, it would always be something, have a bad day. I go home and I pick up the guitar. Maybe I like turn up the headphones as loud as it can and jam out to like some Foo Fighters or something. Or maybe I go home and I write a song, and I wrote a lot of music like that. But
how did you decide to write your first song? Like, is it just something you were just like didn't
that's
even
just
think
the
about?
natural. That's a natural progression. You
Yeah.
learn you learn an instrument. You learn to write song. That's how
But
it.
some people don't. Some people, I knew people that like they've been playing music. Like I knew people in their 60s that have been playing music for a long time, and they'd never written an original song in their life, and they felt like they couldn't. So I've
See,
met
that's
people like
just
that,
it was natural progression for
Yeah.
me. It's something I always wanted to do. Like I picked up the guitar in the 3rd grade and wrote that in the 4th grade.
Yeah.
And I've been writing songs ever since.
That's awesome. So, all right. So one of the things that you want to do in Charleston, you're wanting to develop a band, and
Yes, and that is incredibly tough.
it is.
That is incredibly tough. If you are listening and you want to be a part of my band,
Hit 'em
reach
up.
out to us. Yeah, reach out to Noah, and he can give you my contact information, or you can just reach out directly to me at Days Like Decades on Instagram or on Facebook. Just add me.
Yeah.
A mutual friend of Noah, so you'll be able to find me. But it's incredibly tough.
It is. I'm hoping that's something we can do, because like, dude, I mean, okay, I've said this. I know that's one of the things, or maybe one of the reasons that kind of inspired me to do this podcast is that I've met when I first started out doing music, when I really first got started, first I was super insecure about it, and then I got some good feedback, and I was like, maybe I'm really special, like maybe I got something really good here, and people would tell me that, and then I get more into it, I'm better, and then you don't hear it anymore. It's like that
Well,
that
yeah,
can be a
there's
combination
that
of things,
there's
but
that slope though.
There's a slope,
You
yeah.
get the really good, even
Yeah.
though you're not that good.
Right.
And then you're average, so you get nothing.
Yeah.
And then you're actually really good, so
Yeah,
people
yeah.
come up to you and you're
Yeah.
like, "Wow, you're really good." And it's impossible to tell which one they think. Like,
It's tough
Am I
getting-
getting that was awesome,
Yeah,
and I
it's-
sucked, or was it because like I was actually good? you
Yeah,
know?
processing feedback is difficult, and I completely blanked out where I was going with that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt like that.
No worries. When I was saying, like, when I first started music, yeah, I'm completely lost on that one.
Aw,
So,
sorry.
No, it might come back to me. It was I think I had one too many sips of beer, or it's just that the beer just sometimes it is hitting me like right now.
Yeah.
I ran out of water. Do you need any water? by the
No,
way?
I'm good. I'm
Okay.
good.
Well, so we're talking about bands. Oh, yeah. So creating a really good original music scene in Charleston. I know there's a bit of one, and I need to dig into it more.
See, the band scene, full band scene, indie rock scene
It's
here
really
in
good?
Charleston, it's phenomenal.
Okay,
it's
then I need to get out
phenomenal. Like full band scene, you have bands like Daddy's Beamer, which is my personal favorite, I think, in Charleston. They're playing to like 150 people at a local show. Up in what I saw him at Poorhouse a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
And then another local band, sold out show a couple weeks back. I forget the name of that band. I went to see the band The Simplicity. We've got incredible bands that are breaking through. I tend to gauge success by Spotify streams just because it's the only tangible thing that I can really see.
Yeah.
But you've got so many local bands that have over 1 million streams on Spotify. I'm trying to think of a few, but Connor Hollifield and John Brewster were a part of a band Sonder Blue about 3 years ago.
Okay.
They broke up and they've been making music on their own ever since, but they were a relatively big band. And you've got a bunch of other small bands like that gain traction in Charleston. I don't know what it is.
Okay. I need to get out there more. I've gone to the open mics and whatnot, and then I've been gigging, weddings and bars and stuff. And I think that sometimes that gets you out, like, you just got to get out there and go see the music. And, I don't do that enough, but hearing a hum, what is that? Is that? Oh, that
It
was
might
an
have been a plane.
Airplane.
Yeah.
Damn airplanes. No, just kidding. Thank you guys for flying the planes. So okay, what are some of? Why don't we listen to another song? Why don't you tell us about whatever song we're going to listen to now? And
Let's go and do Hurricane. So Hurricane was the first song that I. So up until Hurricane, my songs were very acoustic, emo, pop punk type deal. I didn't think they were anything special. And then I wrote Hurricane, and I was like, where did that come from? I wrote and recorded this entire thing in 8 hours on some random Saturday in 2018. And I was just really impressed with myself, so I decided to push myself farther and farther in that direction. It takes influence from a lot more jazz. The chords, I don't even understand what that chord progression is, but somehow it works. So,
All right.
And then once again, Todd Johnson filmed this music video. It gets a little weird, but
All right.
hey, it was a weird time.
All right. All right, let's do this. There we go. Fighting a hurricane. There's nothing I can do, but I'm throwing punches anyway. Should've left yesterday. Now the wind is picking up and the sky is a dark gray. I know I've lost myself. The place I once called home is now a holding cell.
Shout out Christian for giving me that squirrel costume.
Said don't leave today. The place you always called home will always be that way.
myself. The place I once called home is now a holding cell. I know I've lost myself. Another fork in the road, and there goes someone else.
It's cool, man.
That was the first music video that we filmed. I've since changed the lyrics. The lyrics to the chorus is it's another fork in the road.
Okay.
It sounds like I'm dropping an F-bomb,
does.
like hardcore right there.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, so I changed it another for the road. That's what's on the recorded recorded versions that
It
you
works
hear
either
now.
way. It works.
Yeah.
It works either way. It works.
I didn't even change the audio recording. I just clipped it. Another four cut.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's interesting. I mean, so well, yeah. Do you want to talk at all about the inspiration for that song?
So that was written during one of the hurricanes that we had
Okay.
way back. I woke up, realized I wasn't leaving my apartment for the day. So I rolled out of bed. At that point, I had a Mac Mini and a keyboard, and my guitar and a Scarlett solo. And I just sat down and pumped it out. I mean, I like sometimes things just like flow out of you, like
yeah.
it's something that you've been holding back, and it's just like here it all is.
Yeah.
That's
So
what
what do you
that
feel like
song
it's
was. Well, I was trying to just make it be about.
You don't have to go into it if you don't.
Well, no.
Yeah.
I want to go into it.
Okay.
I did originally want to make it just about the hurricane that was going outside with like light allusions to like fighting a personal battle.
Yeah.
You know, because that was a time, you know, you can definitely tell with the lyrics between that and Have It Made. I'm a lot less afraid to be like, okay, like this, like something's not right. Something's not okay. I'm being honest and vulnerable with you. And I wasn't back then able to be that vulnerable. Looking back, it's obvious, you know, but it's basically just about that stage after graduating, whether it be high school or college, and you're just kind of in limbo. You're trying to figure out, okay, what's the next move? Maybe not even after high school or college, maybe like another stage of your life where you're like, okay, well, I know I'm not supposed to be here anymore.
Yeah.
But where do I go next?
I can relate. Because I felt like when I was listening to it, I felt like if I wrote that song, it would have been about. There was a stage of life where I didn't want to get into a career, and I didn't really know what to do. I mean, like I graduated with a degree in psychology. I never really had a sense of direction. I won't get it like into the details too much, but like I just didn't feel. It's weird, you know. It's like growing up is weird, man.
Yeah.
It's weird. 'Cause it's like you know, things just can't be the way they were, and it's like I'm trying to wrap my head around why does like my family not like me anymore? Like what?
Yeah.
I everything was so good. Like we had like a great time, and now it just completely sucks, and like I can't be here, and it's like why? Like this sucks, and I felt like I had to. I just didn't feel like I could be there. Like I connected to the words where he said, you know, home feels like it's a holding cell.
Yeah.
And
The place I once called home is now
Yeah.
a holding cell.
yeah, and I feel like I could completely relate to that. That's a tough line.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely not about a hurricane.
Definitely not. I thought it was so sly, and then like 2 years later, I'm like, dude, like, and I thought like, Especially when it zooms out, there's a table full of beer. It's like, oh, dude, you're not okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's an interesting topic in and of itself. Anyway.
well, that's what the entire next. I want to talk about this song a little bit more, but that's what that entire next song really is.
Okay.
Even more about changing like the weather. I'm a lot more vulnerable in that song for some reason. To be honest, the way that I started that song though, I chose 4 or something odd and other random keys on the keyboard, and I was like, you're gonna make a chord progression out of those keys. And there are a couple moments in the song where I made mistakes, but I liked the mistakes so much that I just kept them in there. Like the first time I have a guitar solo in Hurricane, I accidentally played a semitone below on one of the notes that you're supposed to have, but it sounded more jazzy, and it was already a jazzy chord progression, you know.
Yeah.
And then whenever it comes to the guitar solo at the end, like I fixed that one note, which is, you know, I don't know. I feel like there's something there, but also I made a mistake where I accidentally dragged the drum track whenever I wasn't supposed to onto playing snares on the offbeats.
Yeah.
And I liked it so much that I kept it in the bridge.
I think that's one of the really cool things about recording is like sometimes I get an idea in my head about like I feel like a song is gifted to me where I just hear it and it's coming from somewhere else, and then when I try to translate, I love whatever I'm hearing in my head, and I want so badly to put it down the way I hear it in my head, but I never can. It always ends up being pretty different. The overall structure, or there's melodies that I can carry through, but I can't get the same tones and the same stuff. But
you can hear it in your head perfectly, and then whenever
Yeah.
you hear it back, you're just like, I know what it's supposed to sound like right here, and that's the most frustrating part about writing and recording music.
But one of the cool other sides of that is that sometimes you stumble into things that are really cool, and the way things come out, it changes, or you get ideas from mistakes or from accidents, and you hear that and you're like, I never would have done that, and that's so cool.
Yeah,
I've had that happen a handful of times where theoretically in my mind I would think that there's no way that doesn't.
You wouldn't touch it if you did it on purpose.
No, I would never do that, and then all of a sudden it's sitting in the mix like that. It's like, what? That actually sounds really good, and why don't you talk a little bit about how you do? So when you wrote Hurricane, you said you just kind of sat down and it just came out over the course of like 8 hours.
Yes.
Yeah. And so is that the way most of your stuff comes out? Or
No.
is
No, not at all. Not at all. So what'll happen usually whenever I record a song is it'll start off as a riff on the acoustic guitar. And then one of two things will probably happen. Either I'll try to record it as a riff on the electric guitar in Logic, and then I'll move on from there, or I'll play it so much alone in my apartment and an acoustic guitar to where I can't imagine it in any other way. So Have It Made was a song that I started off on the acoustic guitar, and then I brought it in electric. I just played a riff, that riff on the electric with the loop pedal.
Yeah.
And then the synth part, I just kind of fiddled around until I found that on the guitar. And then that was instantly, okay, like this is an energetic song that has got to be recorded full band. And that's how it ended up in Logic.
Do you feel like, is songwriting generally a transformative experience for you? Do you feel like when you go through a songwriting, like the process of writing a song, you grow as a person, or you're challenged as because like for Hurricane, I think clearly for the first 2 songs we've listened to, they're deeply personal, deeply emotional songs. I think one thing that's really cool about Hurricane, actually this is something I forgot to mention, Hurricane by itself, like Have It Made, I'll just say for me personally, but I think generally speaking, Have It Made is a much more engaging song to listen to than Hurricane. But I think that's one thing I've kind of come full circle on. I used to kind of, for a stretch of time, I used to not care what I wrote. I just wrote whatever I felt. But then there was a stretch of time where I started writing I wanted to write the songs that were more engaging to listen to. But I think you can't really think that way, and you just got to write whatever song you have to write, and you got to let whatever song be whatever it is, because not every song is that. And if you try to take that and make it that, then you lose what's special about that. And I think that's something you did that's cool about Hurricane, is that you stayed, as far as I could tell, you stayed pretty true to what that is really about.
Well, also what you're hearing is just the growth of 3 years writing music. You know, like a couple times a week, I'd sit down. I've got a hard drive of music that will never see the light of day. You know, and I've got probably like 50 to 60 Logic files just sitting on there that I would just sit down, I would record something, I would go like a minute into the song, and then I would never touch it again. So I did that so many times in between a Hurricane and Have It Made. I think you're also just hearing the progression of me as a songwriter and an artist.
I think that that's definitely in there, but I think Hurricane in general is a little more down tempo. And the concept, it's just a little bit of a darker song. The Have It Made, you got that bounce in your step, you know, and so I think there's some. But even if it doesn't directly apply to those two songs, I think that's something that I've noticed in songwriting in general. And as you move through, I mean, you can't expect every song to be a hit, and so or to be danceable or whatever. And some songs are just more moody. And I think that's really the beauty of music is. Or when you've got a real song is when it really is its own thing and there's nothing else like it. And I'd be curious to hear you talk about just like for me, I've got a song called Beautiful Frankenstein that your song Hurricane kind of reminds me of Beautiful Frankenstein a little bit. They're very different songs, but it's just kind of like a darker place and kind of moving through that darkness. And if I play Beautiful Frankenstein out for crowds, it clears the room.
Yeah.
But it's a Beautiful Frankenstein, one of the best songs I ever wrote.
Yeah, but there's a time and a place, you know.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason why I want to get a band together so great or so badly, because Hurricane in a live setting, it's one of those things where I can hear it and I could, like, if I close my eyes, I can see it. Yeah. You know, it's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be so good, but just like I got to get those people.
Yeah, and then you got to get you got to get the right moments, because like Beautiful Frankenstein for me, if that song can connect with like a room of 150 people, it's going to be insane. Like it deserves, like, as far as I'm concerned, it deserves to like people. It would be great for people to hear that, because it goes into just difficult stuff that people need to process emotionally, and they need to go through it, and it helps. And so, but then nobody, when I go play it at the bars, like nobody, I've had people dance to it occasionally, but it's tough. Even when we play it as a band and we try to put a whole bunch of energy into it, it still falls flat. But it's so dope, and you can see other bands can play that stuff when they've got the engaged audience already, when the audience is already bought in, then they'll listen to that.
And that's just part of set list. Maybe it's not the song itself. Maybe it's just the positioning of the song in your set list.
Yeah, that could have something to do with it. Set lists are tricky. That's a whole. And they're tough.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I just want to play La Bamba and Footloose all the time because
it's easy.
It's like, you know what, the people like it. So, but
it's provocative. It gets the people going.
Yeah, but let me I'll take it back to the songs as transformative experiences. And so, do you go, when you go through a process of writing a song? Do you feel like you're a different person on the other side of writing a song? Does it help you move through different things? Does it help you understand?
It helps me process what's catharsis. It's a form of catharsis.
Yeah.
For me, writing this stuff. I don't know if I change as a person.
Yeah.
Writing these songs, I think it's just mainly a way for me to understand and cope with what's going on.
Do you ever go back and you said you have a large catalog of a whole bunch of stuff in Logic or whatever?
Some of it's so depressing. Some of it's so bad. Some of it's like really good, and I picked I picked one of those, and I'm gonna turn that into a song. Yeah. I was like, like, yeah, really, really good. But yeah, there's a bunch of it's just.
So when you have so I've noticed this for myself. Maybe you notice the same thing. So one of the things that depresses me when I go back and listen to, let's talk about depressing. Let's talk.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, get ready, saddle in. We're going to talk about depression. So when I go back and listen to stuff that's maybe been buried, right? Because when you've been writing songs for years and years and years, there's just no way if you're writing consistently, you can't remember them all. There's too many of them, and some of them you think they suck. This is actually maybe something that's really interesting. I think it's always good to save everything you do, and then sometimes go back and listen to it, because sometimes I think in the moment what I wrote sucks, and then when you go back and you listen to it with the perspective of 5 more years of living or 10 more years of living, and then you're like, wow, man, that is so cool. It's such a cool picture into who I was then, and I just didn't appreciate it at all, like what I had just written, and that was. And then some of the things I think were so amazing when I wrote them. I was like, this is the coolest stuff, like.
And then it's so bad. It's so bad.
Yeah, you see that? Like, yeah.
I think I have, like, whenever I named song files, I name them just random things, and I have a song that's like super fire, and I opened it, I was like, what is this? Like, it's so bad. Like, I thought it was awesome. Like, I called it super fire.
Yeah.
But no, it's just bad.
And I think it really, as maybe cliche or as simple as it is, a lot of times it just comes down to authenticity, and the more that you just put out what you feel and you don't worry about what happens after that,
that's the toughest part. That's like releasing that. I've got a couple songs that like there's a line though, because I 100% agree with you. Vulnerable music is important, but then there crosses a line where I have one song. I've been trying to actively get it off streaming for like the past like 3 months, because it was trying to be authentic, but I probably should have just kept it to myself, And I think there's a fine line you have to ride, in those sort of instances. Yeah. And in the moment, you don't necessarily even know. Know what it is. You don't know, like, is this emotional in a good way or a bad way?
Yeah. Or so, like, sometimes maybe aspects of your personality that are not going to win any favor with people. Is that kind of what you're saying? Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, that's the tough, because I don't know. It's an interesting
because like vulnerability is what allows people to relate to you. But if you are being vulnerable and like, hey, like this was I sucked and this like A, B, and C, like
But I
don't think it necessarily processes as
everybody,
well.
I wrote one punk song in my life. I was inspired by this guy in Long Beach. Forget his name. He had a band called The Whining, and I'm not gonna say the other word. Just not gonna say it. But
I feel like the imagination is better than you saying the words. So. The Whining Blank.
The Whining Blank. And they really made some really good punk music, and they were almost a comedy kind of angle on music. And anyway, he just had such a fun personality and his whole angle towards things. He really was a good frontman for it. But he inspired me to write a punk song, and the punk song came out talking about like superheroes, and it was saying that people like. The overall theme of it was that people like supervillains these days more than they like the superheroes. Like people wanted, or there was a stretch of time anyway where it seemed like everybody wanted to watch the supervillain. They wanted to get to know that they wanted a really good villain,
Well,
like
the
Joker and whatever. All these movies were coming out about the villains, And
villains are what sell. Like, why do people watch The Dark Knight? It's not because what's his face is Batman. They watch it for the Joker. The villains make the good story.
The villains are absolutely necessary, but maybe when we're talking about the content of a song that you feel like you better keep it to yourself, that stuff maybe is like an element of the villain, and actually it'll be very engaging to people. I mean, there are people that play that role in sports.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's in music. There are people that just don't care, and they like Little Nas would be an example for me, or
Well, in my opinion, Lil Nas is a genius mastermind.
okay, probably he is.
Yeah.
But that song that came out where he's grinding on a devil or whatever, it's just like,
Hey, it's what
mastermind.
sells. Shock sells.
It's shock.
The bottom line of it. You know,
But it's kind of like, for me, it's kind of beyond that, because it's like it materializes that, and it puts it into the world, and it's like you've seen it now, and it's
I don't necessarily agree with some of the stuff. Like, for instance,
yeah.
I hated WAP. You know,
Yeah, WAP would be the other example that I was
WAP
going to give.
is so bad, but
Yeah.
like, it's just its marketing is tough, and the easiest way to market music is
Yeah.
to go people
Push-
like, oh my god,
You push
like
the-
what
yeah,
are
exactly, yeah.
And the question is, like, how far are we going to push it? I can think of a couple things that, like, no one has wrote a song about, but like
Yeah.
with, only a matter of time, maybe.
So if you're on like your last rope or last straw, that then you'll go.
No,
maybe
because
pull it.
that's the one thing. It sells. You make money.
Yeah.
It is extremely self-degrading.
Yeah,
to write a song like that.
Yeah.
Bottom line, in my opinion.
And people.
I mean, it bites. It sells. But like, do I want to write a song like WAP ever? No.
Yeah.
Like, do I want to grind on the devil? Not really. You know.
Yeah. That's one thing. Like, when this is going to a different subject a little bit, but when people talk about how the leadership should be better, or they look at like what is it? Who does WAP? I forgot.
It's not Megan Thee Stallion. It's
No.
I'm Cardi B.
Cardi B. So like Cardi B or Lil Nas doing his song, which I actually kind of like the song. It's actually, I hate the content, but it's kind of a groove that's
Like,
tell
are
me
you-
what you want. tell me
Oh
what you
yeah,
need.
that's what I'm
It's a fun
saying.
song,
And
right?
his music is
Yeah.
great. I mean, yeah.
But like, people look at that, and so they'll condemn. So they're kind of the villains in a way. I would say to a lot of people they're villains. But people look at them and maybe say they're in a position of leadership. They're a role model. They're what's wrong with society or whatever. But I think you have to look at like, dude, Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror is what it's all about, because the only reason they can make that content and make that kind of money is because you have that many people that are willing to consume it. And so why is there that large of a number of people that are willing to consume that and want that? And so then what it says, it says something pretty dark about the mass overall population.
I think you're thinking too much about it. I think it's
Okay.
just entertaining.
Yeah.
I think at a simple baseline, no one's thinking about it that deeply. Everyone's just like, wow, like, did they just do that? Like, did you see this person just do that? Did you see, like, have you heard this song? Like, because the reason why WAP got so crazy was people on TikTok were showing their parents WAP. Like, have you seen this? And then like the videos of their parents are like, I can't believe this exists in our society. That's what it is. Like, no one's
funny.
thinking it through. Is like, as musicians, maybe we think of it a little bit deeper than what it is, but they don't think like the social ramifications of having a song like that. They're like, this is crazy. I can't believe someone said that.
I'm
did
just like,
that.
the envelope it always gets pushed or whatever. The pin always gets pushed, and I've been watching that now I'm 35 years old. And people were saying that when I was growing up, that whereas it's a slippery slope, and everyone would say slippery slope is not a real argument. It's not real. But then you watch it, it's just never stopping, man. It is going.
I'm just here for the ride, to be honest. Like, I really don't care either way. Like, I think they just do your thing. If you're making money, go for it. I'm just here to see what happens. Hopefully we don't. Hopefully we make it that far.
Yeah. Yeah, Joshua Jarman's got a song called "Just Enjoy Your Walk." Just enjoy your walk. It
Yeah.
goes on the line with that.
That was a good song too.
Yeah. You played that for the
Yeah.
mic. All right. Well, let's see. I had one other thing I wanted to ask you about. But why don't we go into the next song and maybe I'll have that on the other.
All right. So this next song is "Changing Like the Weather." It's solo acoustic. A little under a year ago, me and my friend Todd, who's the guy that films all of our music videos, we took a spontaneous road trip. I texted him on Wednesday and was like, "Hey, dude, you want to go camping?" He was like, "Sure." So we didn't really talk much else. I picked him up on Friday, and there was a 30% chance of snow in Smoky Mountains National Park. So we drove up there. We ended up at the Cherokee Reservation, and we saw this auditorium, and it was abandoned. The gate was open. He had his camera with him, so he was like, "Let's film you a music video." Okay. So that's how this came about. And the song is about what we were talking about earlier. It's about growing up. It's about how the song speaks for itself. We'll talk about it a little bit more after.
All right, let's do it. What's up, Holly? This part is silent for everyone, for anybody that's wondering. I didn't know this that first time you can hear the guitar case and all that. Oh, that's cool.
I woke up to yesterday, a cup of coffee, cream or sugar. Slowly I'm awake and driving 378. Repeat us on the radio, reminding me of the sunset on East Bay. And you said our lives, they changing like the weather, and it's getting warmer every day. You couldn't wait to graduate, still relying on your parents, you're ready to move away, and the bills you could pay. Climb up the ladder, getting blown home, a dark ocean air. Our lives, they changed like the weather. It was getting warmer every day. I woke up and turned the page. We worked hard to build a life. We built ourselves into a cage, so comfortable and safe. Now the oranges and yellows of the sunset we once shared have faded into me. Our lives, they change like the weather. Now it's hot and humid every day. Our lives, they change like the weather. Now it's hot and humid every day.
I like the last chord.
Thank you.
That's cool.
All right, stop it before it plays the next song.
Boom. Stopped.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the first time I've watched that music video in probably 10 months, and I feel like it really does the song justice. Like it's like playing to an auditorium of nobody.
Yeah, that's a cool way to shoot that. That's cool too how you transitioned from a mix into just an acoustic performance. Right.
Yeah, so that was I've got that recorded as a part of the album that's on Spotify and everything. He just filmed it like 5 times, and through the clever magic of editing, he was able to put it all together to where it looked like I was playing in time. But
Okay, gotcha.
yeah. That's all I had was my acoustic guitar. Like, we weren't planning on filming anything there. I was like, we're going camping. Like, we'll probably be bored. I'll bring my acoustic guitar. And it was like, well, like, I like filming. I'll probably film something. I'll bring,
That's
my
cool.
camera. And the next thing you know.
Nice. Right on. Well, Days Like Decades. You can follow him on Instagram, on Facebook. And is YouTube? Your YouTube?
Yeah, just
also
friend
Days
me
Like
on
Decades?
Facebook. My name is
Friend
Grant
me.
Wenzel. If you like music, if you
Yeah.
like my music, if you just want to, be my friend, just add me on Facebook. Grant Wenzel. That's Wenzel.
Okay. He's looking to put together a band and take over the Charleston scene.
Oh yeah,
And,
not take it over. I don't want to
be
take
part
it
of
over.
it.
I want to be
Yeah,
a part
no.
of
But
it.
you got- yeah, be part
no,
of it. But you
I'm
gotta
not taking over anything.
I take my. I'm inspired by Conor McGregor. I don't know. You know the MMA fighter.
Yeah,
We're not taking part. We're taking over. I don't know. Everything is competition. I'm a competitive dude, so I play. a lot of
there's
sports.
nothing competitive about what
There's
I want to do.
Yeah.
I want to open up and be a part of a music
Okay.
industry and a music scene that I think is phenomenal, and that's the Charleston music live full band scene. I think it's incredible.
I wanted to ask. There was something else that came to me when you were. Well, let's throw this to you. Is there anything else that you in particular want to talk about?
We've covered most
Okay.
of it. I mean, the big thing is, if you like my music and
Yeah.
All
right, right on. We'll.
I'm always looking for people to jam with. If you've got some sort of talent that you'd like to incorporate it with Days Like Decades, I'd love to collaborate with you.
Let me ask you this: do you have any bookings coming up, or any? What's up, Tremaine? Tremaine says, "What's up?"
Hey, what's going
on? Do you have any bookings or any music that you're currently working on, or anything for
I do have music that I'm working on. It's not slated for release. It takes about a month from the point that I click OK for it to be available on
Gotcha.
streaming
Okay.
platforms. So I've got no releases coming up for the next 2 months, probably at least.
Right on.
But I am heavily recording right now.
Okay.
And I've got a lot of really cool stuff.
Where are some of the places around town that people might see you?
Mike Club and
Club.
Elliott Borough Mini Bar.
Okay, right on. Elliott Borough Mini Bar.
I'm trying to show up to Tommy Condon's sometime soon,
Right on.
but you keep having me on this over here on
stealing your way.
Mondays,
I'm trying to.
so I can't make it up there.
My bad. I'm trying to get to Tommy Condon's as well. I'm gonna come and do. I'm sort of doing an e-open mic, turning an e-open mic, maybe a different angle on it, where I'm using my phone to stream through that. There's a recording device over there I'll show you called Zoom H6, and I can actually run my phone or the Zoom H6 direct from the Chris Tydstrom's board, and right on, Tremaine. Tremaine says Mike Club's the spot. Man,
Yep.
it's been pretty dope.
Come on,
lately.
join. The more musicians we get
Yeah.
in there, the cooler it ends up being.
Yeah, man.
Anyone and everyone's welcome.
Yeah. So a live stream from the board, and so maybe I'll see you at Tommy Condon's at some one of these Mondays here.
Yeah.
Another Monday night you could check out that'd be worth checking out is Folly Beach.
See, Folly Beach is so
Too
out of my
far.
way. That's a no
yeah,
for
but you
me.
might want to try it though at least one time. Maybe you could get a featured spot there. Even make that your first time. I can message George Fox, see
if you can make it it's just
Yeah.
I work on Daniel Island, so it took me 45 minutes to an hour to get here today.
Yeah.
You know, Folly
is a
Beach.
drive for sure.
Yeah, that's gonna take me like an hour and a half after work to get there.
No, not an hour and a half.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Over the bridge, because you got to go over the bridge.
I've got to go over
Yeah.
the worst bridge in the
Yeah,
entire
it is.
United States to get.
Daniel Island is pretty bad.
It's so bad. The Don Holt
at traffic
Bridge.
time.
That engineer deserves the worst.
All right. Well, okay. Check him out at the Elliott Burrow Mini Bar on Wednesdays. Sometimes you might catch him there. Might catch him on Tuesdays. It's Wednesdays, right?
Yeah, I'm not very consistent.
Yeah,
so
so-
if you want to see me, just reach out.
Okay.
You know,
Add him on Facebook and
Instagram,
Grant-
anything.
Grant Wenzel, everybody. Days Like Decades. Follow him. Share this. This is going to post on Spotify and all podcasting platforms. And thank you guys for everyone that tuned in. Thank you, Grant, for doing this. And
Thank
and
you
being
so
part of
much
this.
for having me. It's always a
Yeah,
blast.
man. It was good to talk to you and enjoy the music. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This is Noah's Groovecast. Next week, we have, I think, Marcelo Henrique, Brazilian guy who lives in California. I got to meet him out there. He's just getting back from Brazil, and he's been working on a bunch of Portuguese music. So
That's awesome.
we'll
That's so
excited to
cool.
check that out. And but this is it for us tonight. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great night, and we'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.